7:04, Dance Party Friday, morning of Game 2, Oilers and Jets, tonight in Ice District. Dustin Nielsen, Hernan Salas with you. Nielsen Show brought to you by A&W. You can text us anytime at 10-1260. Keep your Game 2 predictions coming in and get in the mix for a playoff nasty shirt. Final score, game-winning goal. Who do you got? 10-1260. If you're right, you're one step closer. We're looking for a high of 12 degrees for today. -1, a little bit of a chilly morning, but high of 12 degrees, and looking ahead to the weekend, not too bad. Not too bad for a long weekend. A long weekend that will feature a Friday night Oilers game, a Sunday night Oilers game, or Sunday afternoon Oilers game, and then a Sunday late afternoon Oilers game?
5:30.
5:30, so yeah, early evening. Late afternoon, early evening game. And then Monday Oilers game as well. We got lots to discuss. Even the Canucks are going to somehow creep in here today. We're going to get to Habs and Leafs, Oilers and Jets, obviously, as well, with hockey insider Frank Saravalli. Frank, happy Friday. How are you, buddy?
How is the YEG feeling this morning after watching what happened in Toronto last night? A little better? Any better?
I don't think anybody's expecting these things to be sweeps, right? I mean, you like to have game one,
no,
but it's not the end of the world.
I mean, come on. Is anyone saying that the Toronto Maple Leaf Stars are no good?
Well, I'm sure in Toronto they might be. Here in Edmonton, nobody's saying anything about them. But I'm assuming if you were on Toronto radio right now, people would be like, yes, Frank, they're never going to win anything with Austin Matthews. He didn't even turn around and engage Sherrod in that one battle behind the net.
Leader. Look at our leader. He got carried off on a stretcher. Honestly, I couldn't wrap my brain around the criticism that came Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's way following game one.
Well, the Jets did a good job against them, but, I mean, Leon and Connor have had sensational seasons so far. Is there any doubt in your mind that these guys find a way tonight in Game 2? I'm not talking about a win, but I'm talking about Draisaitl and McDavid having success.
Zero. I mean, look, their track record is proven, not just this past season, but previous seasons. I mean, think back to the playoffs last year. They weren't the reason that the Oilers lost to the Chicago Blackhawks. Those two guys had 14 points in 4 games. The problem is, think back to game one. Connor McDavid is on the bench for 37 minutes. You need other bodies to step up and produce. You need to have depth. And we talked about this before the series began. What's a path for the Winnipeg Jets to win? Well, of course, it's to, play Connor McDavid as tight as possible. But the key is to win the other minutes in the game when he's sitting on the bench. And quite clearly, that's part of what the Winnipeg Jets did in game one.
If you're the Oilers, yesterday at practice, and Rashad pointed it out, and Tippett did say after, don't read anything into that. We're just kind of, moving some things around there. But it was McDavid, Draisaitl, and Cahoon, and then Nugent Hopkins between Puljujarvi and Yamamoto. And that's a top 6 that Tippett has not actually used yet this season. The uniting of McDavid and Draisaitl would be one thing, but I mean, going into game 2 of a series when it was 1-1 in game 1 and you actually carried the possession numbers in game 1, do you think Dave Tippett actually mixes it up? Would that be a panic move, or do you think he sticks to what they had in the first game of the series?
I don't think it would be a panic move. I think what you do is you go power on power, and I was wondering about that yesterday. It was one of the first things I said, actually, in chatting with Lowtide just after your show, was I wonder if they decide to load up and go with Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line, put that head-to-head against Connor, Scheifele, and Wheeler, and then see what happens the rest of the time.
Well, if McDavid and Draisaitl will work. So you just said, I mean, they got to have some success when those guys aren't on the ice. Do you think Nugent Hopkins, Puljujarvi, and Yamamoto, which we have not seen yet, but do you think that could be a line that could, I'm not going to say do damage, but have some success?
I think it's a line that could control play for a bit. I mean, you look at Puljujarvi and even the impact that he had in game 1. I think it was a tweet from you that I might have seen that it was like, well, Puljujarvi, may be the best player on the ice tonight. And they're like, well, that's a good thing and a bad thing for the Oilers. Yeah. It's nice that he's taking a step forward, but, that can't be the case. But if you can put him with Nuge, and if Nuge can dig in and grind, and then you can get some, hopefully some production from Yamamoto, who's been really quiet for a long stretch now, who knows? Maybe that, you put something together and find out if it works. But I like the idea of going to McDavid and Draisaitl together first and foremost, and then if you need to even mash up, the rest of the lines after that and change things around after a period or two, I think that makes sense as a game plan moving forward.
We'll see what happens. And like I said, Tippett splashed some water on it yesterday, but we'll see. I feel like he might have wanted to just get a quick look at it as a plan B tonight if things aren't going well, and he's going to mix it up. That might make that might make a little bit of sense. Now, I know a lot of people say, you throw the regular season out the window. But one thing the Oilers did do very well in the regular season, Frank, was bounce back after a loss. They had not lost back-to-back regular season games since March. How much do you think they can draw on that success so far this year for Game 2 tonight?
I think certainly that's part of it. And look, I just expect a different feel from the Oilers tonight. If I were Connor McDavid, I would have posted some of the stories and the comments that were written about me above my bed right on the ceiling so I could stare at it before I went to bed. And in the morning when I woke up, that'd be the first thing that I'd see. And not that he needs that, because I think he always has that extra gear. Sometimes you see that for whatever reason on the broadcast, if he's not starting the game, they show him on the bench and he's squirting the water and doing his thing. And you're like, that's not water. That's jet fuel. And I could see some of that, in Game 2 tonight, just that next level. I'm going to take this game, and doesn't matter how you play me, how close you play me, doesn't matter how close you play my teammates and try and take away their time and space. I'm coming at you, and I'm coming full steam, and I think that's what we're going to see.
Hockey insider Frank Cervalli with us here on the Nielsen Show this morning. Habs take Game 1 last night. Early in the game, though, the Toronto Maple Leafs lose John Tavares with what I would describe as an extremely unfortunate incident. There was no intent. Yep. Hockey's a high-speed game. You don't see plays like that very often, but at the same time, it was like, oh, wow, that's something else.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any question that sequence took a lot of wind out of the Toronto Maple Leafs sails. I've been to hundreds of NHL games, and I've seen a lot of gruesome injuries. I was there the night Chris Pronger nearly lost his eye. I've seen multiple players knocked out cold and stretchered off. I don't think I was ever as uncomfortable, and that's the word that Sheldon Keefe used, and I think that he said it perfectly, sitting on my couch. I was squirming watching that, because you see these trainers and they practice these scenarios, and these doctors, they actually go through routines. What catastrophic or potentially catastrophic injury am I coming upon? And they're calm because they've seen it and they're trained to be calm. But when you see a slight twinge of panic in a trainer's arm as he's waving for the stretcher to get out there and medical attention as quickly as possible, it makes your stomach turn over. And I know that it affected the Leafs. You could see Wayne Simmons say it in the intermission that they were shaken up. You could see, in the response from Nick Foligno, as much as everyone says that he was defending his captain, and I'm sure that was the case. I'm sure part of it deep down, there was also some motivation to try and wake the team up again. And definitely not an excuse for Game 1, and the Leafs are going to be in a tough spot moving forward without their captain for a bit as he spent the night in the hospital. But, I don't like the fact that Corey Perry had to answer for something that was a pure accident that could have happened at any point in any time. And not to feign outrage or anger on the code or anything that may or may not exist. Anyone that saw that and has played hockey and has watched enough hockey knew that there was nothing that could have been done, and that could have happened to anyone at any point on the ice. And so, good on Corey Perry for answering the bell, but I just don't think he needed to, and I don't think it's something that should have been addressed or forced, because they should have just been able to get back playing.
After that, you're right. I think both teams are rattled for a little bit. Montreal comes away with a 2-1 win, and their path to victory was executed last night. Carey Price was outstanding, and they got a clutch goal from an unsung hero, and it was a beautiful goal by Paul Byron. But that's exactly how the Habs will have to win this series, with games like that last night.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what makes the road, moving forward a bit harder for the Habs. And I also think the Jets is they need to execute perfectly. A lot of what they do relies on their goaltender. The Habs in particular have a really tough time scoring. They had a bunch of power play chances before getting that shorthanded goal. They have 3 puck over glass?
Yeah.
It was insane. So they had a number of chances and couldn't do anything. The Leafs had a few late power plays as well. I just think they had an off night. and I'd expect their scoring touch to find its way back into the series, much in the same way that I think the Oilers will rebound. By the way, Oilers still the favorite in the series, and obviously the Leafs are as well. But still, moving forward, they kind of laid out the blueprint, and I think kind of the same thing for the Jets. They need to stifle McDavid, and they need to be opportunistic and try and grind it out.
Huge game 2 is coming up for the Oilers and Jets tonight, obviously, and then the Habs and Leafs on Saturday. Frank, before I let you go, extension news coming out of Vancouver. We've had Canucks fans texting in this morning saying enough is enough with these guys, but it looks like Benning and Green are going to continue to have a chance to get things turned around in Vancouver. Are you surprised at all by this?
I'm not. I've been saying really consistently all season long, this was going to be a transition year. You can record it now, and you can play it back to me sometime next April. The Vancouver Canucks are making the playoffs next season. They're going back to the Pacific Division. By the way, how sweet is that for the Oilers? They're going to be locked into a solid spot, but the Canucks are going to be right there in a 3 or 4 spot in the Pacific. It's a lot weaker. The Calgary Flames will have a bounce-back season for that reason as well. And they've got the pillars in place. They lost a few guys, and perhaps the biggest bogey was Toffoli. They made the clear right decision in Demko. They could have filled out their depth a little bit better, not betting so big on some of the young guys to step into their lineup defensively and play well. But Travis Green didn't wake up this season and forget how to coach. They had some flaws on their roster. They had some salary cap issues. They've got some money to spend this summer. And that team, at least in just chatting briefly with Jim Benning this week, they're going to be making some big moves this summer. So I think they're going to be a team that's right back in it next season.
Frank, as always, buddy, appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks a lot. Have a good vacation weekend.
There you go. That's Frank Saravalli. He doesn't know that we're working Monday. I might actually be putting in the call to him on Monday. So, surprise. Interesting on the Canucks. He did point out how weak the division is next year. Like, the Oilers are going to the postseason next year. I mean, it sounds crazy to say right now, but lock it up. I mean, if things go back to normal, which it's trending towards they are, you're going to be seeing the Kings and the Sharks and the Ducks, an expansion team. And
who's going to be worse off, Calgary or Vancouver? Because I think both teams are going to have big summers.
It's a good question, man.
Yeah.
It's tough to answer right now because you're right. Well, big summer's on the way. I mean, huge summer here in Edmonton too. So
I just don't know how Vancouver, they're right up against the cap, and they're not getting a lot of money off. So I don't know how active they're truly going to be, Dusty.
Ready to come on that? You can hit us up at 10-12-60. All right, a couple of things to get to here. We're going to be calling a winner for our playoff crasher party from the last 2 days of qualifying. All right, so stay by your phone. But at the same time, I've got another trivia question for you. This is a very simple one, so be ready. You text in your answer to the trivia question. Stay by your phone. Hernan's going to give you a call off the air. We'll get your name into the mix for a future playoff crasher party. Today's trivia question, I'm going all the way back to Game 1. Who led the Oilers in hits in Game 1? Text in that answer right now to the inbox at 10-12-60. I want everybody in the mix. Who led the Oilers in hits in Game 1 against the Jets just 2 nights prior? Your answer to the inbox at 10-12-60. Stay by your phone. You get a call from Hernan. I'm going to be phoning somebody who's going to get hooked up with the playoff crasher party for tonight. If you've qualified, stay by your phone. Coming up, huge dilemma for myself. I'm going to leave it in your wonderful hands. So be ready to make an impact on the show. Coming up next, Mac Ramallo is going to pop by here around 7:45.
They can't touch. Yo, I told you can't touch this.
7:26.
Why you standing there, man? You can't touch this.
It's the Nielsen Show. Game day. Game 2. Oilers and Jets tonight. What do you want to see from your Edmonton Oilers heading into Game 2 tonight? You can hit us up in the inbox at 10-12-60. Eric Macramala is on the way. Congratulations to Derek Obosh. Derek Obosh, you won that playoff party. We left you a voicemail. It'd be a good voicemail to get today. Playoff crasher will be by later on this afternoon for Derek. And yes, the correct answer to the trivia question today for our next playoff crasher party was Josh Archibald. Archibald came out and set the tone as much as Josh Archibald can in game. Can you imagine if the entire team had the intensity and willingness to hit as Josh Archibald? That's what they need. I think that would go a long way if you got a bunch of Josh Archibalds running around there hitting everything.
Second best player on Wednesday, behind Jesse.
Which is why I'm intrigued if Puljujärvi plays with Nuge and Yamo at times tonight. Could that actually work? Your reaction to everything so far in the show this morning, you can hit us up in the inbox at 10-12-60. All right, so I'm sitting there last night writing Tales of the North today. If you missed it, we'll have it again probably just after 8 o'clock today. And then we've got Macramala before 8 o'clock. I'm sitting around late last night, like 9:30, and I get an email from our production company. And they said, hey, your Mike Smith song is now ready. And I thought, whoa, the Mike Smith song's ready. Like, I was waiting for it for a bit. I hadn't bothered them as of late. I was just going to kind of wait until probably later today, and then I would have fired them an email and said, hey, what's going on with this Mike Smith track? So then last night, I put it out on Twitter. I said, our Mike Smith song is ready. Do we play it tomorrow? That would be this morning. To turn the tide in this series, which would go against everything we've always done. We said if we have a goal song, got to have a goal to unlock it. With this Mike Smith song, when we made it, I said you could use it. I didn't say it would have to be after a shutout. I said you can fire it up after a win. When Mike Smith plays well. If Koskinen has a song, damn it, Mike Smith should have a song too. So the question was, the Mike Smith song is ready. Do we play it tomorrow to turn the tide in the series or save it for after a win?
Oh, man.
The results, 1,000 votes in. 41.4% said it should be played right now to turn the tide in the series. 58.6% saying no, save it after a win. Obviously, if they win tonight, I'm not coming in tomorrow morning to play it. If they were to win Game 3 on Sunday night, we'd have a holiday Monday miracle because we would be on the air and we would be playing the Mike Smith song. Unless, of course, for some reason, Mikko Koskinen gets to start in Game 3, which I don't think is going to happen. So where do you come out on this right now? I mean, the Twitter poll said 40, basically a 40-60 split. Save it until after a win. Where do you come out on this right now? You can hit us up in the inbox at 10-12-60. Hernan, what do you think?
Oh, man, I'm torn because I get what you're saying when playing it today, but I almost feel like we're messing around with what's...
But maybe you have to because they didn't win.
But that's
game
why
one,
I'm torn.
That's the thing.
That's why I'm torn right now. I selfishly I want to hear it too. Oh man, that's a tough one.
If they had won game one, this would not even be a discussion.
Yeah.
You're not even having the discussion if they had won game one. They didn't win game one. Maybe you need to change up the old routine because of the game one loss here on the show.
So leading the vote is for to save it.
Yeah, the 60% of the people who voted yesterday on Twitter said, save it until the win.
Oh, man.
Which I totally get, and which is what we usually do. But maybe what we usually do isn't required here after a game one loss.
Damn, Dusty. Oh, man.
Let's dive into the inbox here. This one says, you play that MFer. This text says, you have to save it. Play it now. Play it today. After a win. Need a bounce-back win tonight. I'm an Oilers fan in Manitoba. Jets fans are obnoxious. Going with 3-2 Oilers, Neil, the game winner. We are taking your predictions to get in the mix for a playoff nasty shirt.
Oh, man. I'm kind of with Alex in this one. My brain says play the song. My heart says wait.
Play it. Long weekend Friday. You need to turn the tide. Play it. Look, this might be our only opportunity to turn the tide. If they were to lose tonight and we hadn't played the song, what's the point? What's the point of even having the song?
Oh, Dusty. But we got to have a little faith here.
Dusty, the real question is, what would Phrase do? Shout out to your boy Phrase.
Phrase would play it.
No, well, Phrase is a real stickler for the rules. He'd probably be in the ballpark of, well, but I don't know where Phrase would be at. I think Eric would say no. Although Eric likes to be a little crazy on
he does
on Dance Party Friday.
He's got a wild side, that guy. You know what, Dusty?
This guy says, play it now, and Smith gets a shutout tonight, guaranteed. Yeah, but what if he gets torched? People are never going to listen to the show again. 4-5 texts in. What's this guy thinking? I can safely say that you guys playing a song will have zero effect on the Oilers' play tonight?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Really?
So you do not believe in curses, hey, 4-5?
Oh, dear. You know what, man? It's Friday. We're going to be having beers. It's sunny. The Oilers need to win. Play the damn song, Dusty.
We might be playing it by the end of the show anyway, after we have a couple of tastes of our beer of the week.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. I'm so torn on this, you guys. Dusty, be the hero this city needs. Play the darn song. Be our Dark Knight. Oh, I can't.
Oh, man.
Oh, now you know why I do like the idea of being a hero for the city. But
On Twitter, ex-retired and Wired says, "Don't you do it, Hernando Man and Nielsen. That is bad juju."
Oh. Hey, Dusty, playoff hockey is tight hockey. It requires discipline. If you play it now and God forbid they lose the series, everyone will blame you for jinxing Smith. That's true. Smith did play well, I thought, in game one.
I like this one. Give the song to Hernan and Tom to play on the post game if they win.
No chance. Come on. Come on. How about I give you 0.9 seconds of the song? How about just the tease, just the tip of it? Hey, why don't we play that game?
Do it.
0.9 seconds of the Mike Smith. I hope I don't hit the wrong button accidentally play the whole thing. 0.9 seconds of the Mike Smith song. That's it. That's all you get. That's all you get right now. We'll see how things change on the show after Beer of the Week. But, oh man, I want to play it. I think the guys did a really good job with this one. You're going to be fired up. You're going to be fired up. I want to play it. But we can't. We can't.
Why even ask, Dusty? I knew you were going to be leaning that way, right? So
I was leaning that way, but, I mean, there is a very significant pull within me to just hit play on this song and just say, screw the rules. They're down 1-0. Let's turn this series around. If we were to play it and they were to go out and win tonight big, you could point to this moment right here on this show as a turning point in game one of the playoffs. Maybe they go on a run and win the entire thing, and it was because of us playing it this morning. That's the other side of this thing. Some of you are trying to guess the song. Guys, it's simple. Just flip a coin. Oh, we could spin the wheel of destiny. We could put the wheel of destiny in play here. 50% of the wheel, yes. 50% of the wheel, no. And we could leave it up to destiny. We could leave it up to destiny, Hernan, as opposed to us having to...
I like that idea.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I like that idea.
All right, there's the question. Should we spin the wheel of destiny to unleash the Mike Smith song on the morning of game 2?
Oh, man.
Oh, I think spinning the wheel might...
I even got a private DM that says, play it!
Oh, my God. You guys, they're sliding into the DMs. They're sliding into the DMs.
How about this one? Also on Twitter from Tommy, it says, remember how Nurse scored when you didn't play the Nurse song? I'm torn, Dusty, man.
Actually, he did. That's right. We didn't play the Nurse goal song, and then Nurse scored right away, and we played the song. But that Wheel of Destiny's just sitting here doing nothing right now because there's no Tecmo season. And we could easily just put 2 yeses and 2 nos on this thing and spin it right now.
Speaking of Tecmo, we're 10 days away from
return to play. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. One guy's into the inbox chanting, spin the wheel. I think it would get you pretty fired up for game 2. Woo!
Oh, man.
We could flip a coin, and if the coin gets flipped properly, then we could spin the wheel. And then it's in Destiny's hands twice. If we were to do it at that point, it would just be meant to be.
I think we need to have a beer first.
That's a good point. We could leave this for the 4th hour. All right, 10. Guys, what if we get swept? We'll never hear it. Well,
no, knock on wood, knock on wood. Don't think that way, guys. Don't think that way.
Spin the wheel of destiny and get her done. I like that name for the wheel. How have we never come up with that before? All right, Eric Macramala's on the way. Your Macramala intros, keep them coming in at 10, 12, 60. I am split right down the middle. If we do it, it will be determined by the Wheel of Destiny, for sure. But I don't even know if we should do that. But maybe we should. They're down 1-0. Or do you stick to what got us here? And that was rules. Oh, man.
Fridays are for breaking the rules.
Hernan, you're not helping. You're not helping. Matt Kamala's on the way. We need your questions for 3 questions too many. You can hit us up at 10-12-60, sports, non-sports. Send us your questions. And if you do want to come in on one side of this moral dilemma, play the Smith song or don't play the Smith song. That is the question. Inbox at 10-12-60. Ryan Rashog on the way in less than an hour.
Yes, I cry. Yes, I cry.
747. It's the Nielsen Show. Dustin Nielsen with you. Hernan Salas riding shotgun. We need your questions for 3 questions too many. Holla at you boys in the inbox at 10-12-60. Sports, non-sports. Well, you can probably stick Oilers Jets. Give us your questions. 3 questions for Oilers and Jets. Game 2. 10-12-60. Legal analyst Eric McNamara brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, where they really, really, really love old school comedies. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. TSN 1260 legal analyst and guy who pronounces females like tamales, Eric McNamara, famales. TSN 1260 legal analyst and guy who overuses the, Your Honor, my client just really doesn't want to go to jail defense. Closing argument? Yes, Your Honor. Look, my client, he just really doesn't want to go to jail. I like that one. TSN 1260 legal analyst and guy who figures he eats upwards of 8 mice per year in his sleep, Eric McNamara. And TSN at 1260 legal analyst and guy who bowls like he has sex, hard and fast and alone in a big room full of strangers. Eric McNamara, he joined us this morning. McNamara, how are you, man?
My man, I just got an email from Mitch from Park Mazda. I love old school comedies, and the email reads, Dear Eric, I hate you. I'm not a big fan. By the way, Ross and Rachel, we're on a break, and working the dealership is like meatball surgery. So indeed, he loves old school comedies. And my client, who didn't want to go to jail, he ended up going to jail. The weird part is, I'm such an effective lawyer. He was actually picked up on jaywalking, and he's the first person to go to prison for life, and he's recently been executed, which is weird because Canada doesn't execute anybody, but he was executed for jaywalking. So I guess I should have paid more attention in that 1 year of law school.
Keep that one out of the portfolio moving forward. That doesn't make the resume, that case. Yeah, for
By
sure.
the way, I love Hernan's name. I always think of Hernan the Barbarian. It's close to Conan. But I pulled up the name Hernan online on the World Wide Web, and it's a show. There's a show called Hernan. Hernan Cortez arrives in the shores of what today is Mexico and faces both local demons and those who have sailed with him. That's also his bio on TSN 1260.
Eric McNamara with us on the show this
I
morning.
don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know how I'm going to end the sentence. I like how you let me be me. Thank you.
How does your day begin the morning after the Habs beat the Leafs in the first game of the playoffs?
Watch it again. So my boys 7 and 4, they had their. You might have maybe you saw on Facebook. We have many Canadians pajamas for them, and my eldest Daniel is 7. He's a brilliant kid, and he knows the Canadians through and through. We watch the games together, but they have to go to sleep eventually, right?
Yeah.
So I PVR the rest of the game, and then they come in my room, both with their Canadians teddy bears, and they slide into bed, and we watch without them knowing the score the rest of the game. And they couldn't believe Lord Byron's goal, which was a beautiful goal. I thought that if Sidney Crosby had scored that goal, maybe Sportsnet would have erected a statue of Sidney Crosby in front of the rink. There seems to be a slightly different standard. It also seems like Sportsnet was a bit upset the Canadians won. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a wrong feel. I shouldn't even use the S word, please.
You know what? With Byron, I mean, the burst, we know he's a great skater. I mean, the burst that he had there down to the knees, got a little bit of help from Campbell's late poke check, and sure enough, the Habs go up 2-1. And then the Leafs still had that power play. Then the other power play, I think their big guns were on the ice for the last 4.5 minutes. But Carey Price, I mean, what can you say? I mean, he made that save on Marner on the 2-on-1. And then when Carey Price is on, like, he'll make those great saves, but he makes every save look so damn easy, doesn't it?
Oh, that's the thing is there's no wasted movement with Carey Price. You know, there's one thing about him is, you know, he by far and away the most talented goalie I've ever seen. Maybe not always as successful as he is talented, but in the playoffs he tends to lock in of late. But just watching him, his style is so unique that every time I see him play, good or bad, I know I'm watching a goaltender who I will never see another one of him again. There's just simplicity and grace to his movement. But that aside, the Canadians' power play, I don't want to get too technical here. It's pipi caca. The power play is pipi caca. These zone entries are slow, labored,
disaster.
and predictable. Yeah. And the Leafs have shut down the middle. Like, I don't understand what they're – it's almost like they're afraid of the power play. It's bizarre. So just copy someone else's power play. Do what they do, because at this point it's become inexcusable.
Your thoughts on the Tavares incident last night?
You know, it was so unfortunate, and it did cast a shadow over the entire game. And it was disturbing. I mean, my kids actually asked me to kind of change the channel.
Well, I'll tell you, like, just quickly, we were watching it at dinner. We were watching the game, and I saw the hit, and Marshall goes, "Oh, Daddy, is he okay?" I said, "He'll be okay." And then they go to sit him up, and he crumples back, and I, like, sort of just stood up in front of the TV, and I was like, "You guys keep eating dinner. Daddy's going to see what's going on here," because that was a disturbing scene right there.
It was. You know, when they sat up, the lawyer in me was like, "Call me, Tavares, because they shouldn't be sitting you up." That, to me, was ridiculous. After that hit, you immobilize him. You don't sit him up. We saw what happened when they sat him up. His eyes rolled to the back of his head. His face is half covered in blood. He's effectively still knocked out, right? So I was really surprised. There are certain protocols that are in place, established by very expensive lawyers, that say you immobilize a player. So it was really unfortunate, very difficult. I think I didn't understand the fight after the fact because it was an accident. Perry you could read his lips. He said it was an accident. It was an accident. But I do understand why Foligno. You know, he said he had the benefit of seeing the replay, which was surprising because 10 minutes had passed and there were 47 iPads on the bench, so that was a little bit surprising. But I do understand why they did what they did. It just seemed slightly out of step, and I think hockey's got to kind of figure out those moments because it's too old school, man.
As always, buddy, appreciate the time. Thanks a lot.
Well, have we been on the air this entire time?
Yes, we have.
But it's only 53. We still have another minute and a half.
I'm trying to stay ahead of the clock because we got a busy second half of the show today.
I feel like Mitch makes me feel like I'm not wanted, but that's totally fine. I love you.
I love you
take
too,
care
man.
of yourself and enjoy the game on Saturday.
Yep, for sure. That's Eric Macramala, huge Habs fan. Some thoughts there on, a very horrific and unfortunate incident for John Tavares last night. Got the old thumbs up heading off the ice, which was nice to see. Spent the night in hospital as well. But yeah, when they sat him up, I was like, this seems weird. Like, how are you sitting him up 30 seconds after he had his head hit like that?
And that's where it got scary.
Oh,
yeah,
buddy.
I was like, what are they doing? Like, no, I'm no doctor or anything, and then you even saw the Montreal bring their doctor on the
Mulder
ice.
came out,
yeah, it was scary scene, but it was good to see him with the thumbs up, and by all accounts, he's doing really well. So he's not returning anytime soon. It's just good that he's.
It looked like as positive as reports as you can have after a situation like that. All right, phone lines are open. If you'd like to play kind of easy trivia here on a Dance Party Friday, 780-444-1260, 780-444-1260. Get your name in the mix for a playoff nasty shirt here from the Nielsen Show, 780-444-1260. We need your questions for 3 questions too many. Game 2 questions. What do you got for us? Send those to the inbox at 10-1260. This whole debate continues over the Mike Smith song. Play it to turn the series around or stick to the rules.
Still too early, man.
Had some good suggestions. We've had some good suggestions to the inbox. We might run a few of those by you coming up. It could lead to one of the most dramatic moments in show history. Really. I mean, it honestly could.
I'm just happy to be a part of it.
I love you, buddy. All right. Rashog's on the way. Fan Cave qualifier on the way as well. And if you want to play kind of easy trivia, give us a call, 780-444-1260.